Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. Let's take up the daily quiz for today. Let's look at the first question. Which of the following statements are correct? The Kartarpur corridor is a visa-free border crossing and corridor between India and Pakistan. It enables both border trade and pilgrimage. It is built across the Chenab River. See, amongst the given statements, only the first statement is correct, and hence option A is the right answer. The Kartarpur corridor, which has been created between India and Pakistan, enables pilgrimage between two sacred gurudwaras which are located in India and Pakistan. It connects the Dera Baba Nanak shrine located in the Gurdaspur district of India with Gurudwara Darbar Sahib located at Kartarpur in Pakistan. It's approximately a 6-kilometer corridor that has been built over the Ravi River and not the Chenab River, and it is meant only for pilgrimage purposes and not to promote border trade. It essentially provides for a visa-free corridor for Indian pilgrims and fulfills a long-standing demand of the Sikh community. See, these two Gurudwaras are considered to be very sacred in Sikhism, as the first Guru of Sikhism, Guru Nanak, is said to have spent considerable amount of time at these Gurudwaras. But the partition of India and Pakistan in 1947 led to the drawing of the Radcliffe Line between India and Pakistan, which ended up dividing these two sacred pilgrimage sites. The Sikh pilgrims in India could not access the Kartarpur Gurudwara, and hence, from many decades, the Sikh community was demanding both the countries to create such a travel corridor which could enable their pilgrimage. This demand was finally met in 2018 when India and Pakistan signed an agreement to create the Kartarpur corridor, and this project was inaugurated finally in 2019 to mark the 550th birth anniversary of Guru Nanak. But as a result of the COVID-19 situation, the corridor had been closed for several months, and now it is being finally reopened today, as reported in this article in The Hindu. Now let's look at the second question. Which of the following statements are correct? The UN World Tourism Organization is a specialized agency of the United Nations. It promotes tourism as a driver of economic growth and is committed to promoting tourism as an instrument in achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals. It runs a global initiative known as the Tourism Villages to highlight villages where tourism preserves culture and traditions, celebrates diversity, provides opportunities, and safeguards biodiversity. All the three given statements are correct, so option D is the right answer. See, the UNWTO is a specialized agency of the UN, and its mandate is to promote tourism to drive economic growth in member countries, and also to use tourism as an instrument to help the countries in achieving their sustainable development targets. This organization aims to eradicate poverty, promote inclusive and sustainable development by using tourism as an instrument. It also runs a global initiative known as the Tourism Villages, which recognizes villages with tourist potential which have preserved their culture and traditions, which not only marks the diversity of the place but also provides for opportunities for economic growth and conservation of biodiversity. This question was taken up because, according to this article in The Hindu, the UN World Tourism Organization has recognized the Pochumpalli village in Telangana as one of the best tourism villages in the world. The Pochumpalli village, located around 50 kilometers from Hyderabad, is known for its artisanal handlooms, known as the Ikat handlooms, which are created using a unique weaving pattern. So, in the light of this development, the UNWTO and the Tourism Village Initiative becomes very important for prelims. Now let's look at the third question. What led to the latest crisis at the Belarus-Poland border? Dispute over trade negotiations between European Union and Belarus, territorial conflict between Poland and Belarus, Belarus enabling migrants from Middle East and Africa to enter the European Union through Poland, dispute over water sharing of a transboundary river. The correct answer is option C. Recently, a major border crisis has emerged between Belarus and Poland, as Belarus has been trying to enable migrants from Middle East and Africa to cross over into the European Union by breaching its borders with Poland. This is a result of the ongoing tensions between Belarus and the Western countries led by the European Union and the United States. See, Belarus is a East European country which was part of the former Soviet Union, and of late it has had difficult relations with the EU and the United States. Recently, Belarus was targeted with economic sanctions imposed by the Western countries following allegations that the president of Belarus, Mr. Alexander Lukashenko, had recently won elections through fraud, and he has been accused of violating human rights and eroding democracy in Belarus. As a result of these heightened tensions, Belarus has retaliated by taking in illegal migrants from Africa and Middle East and later facilitating their crossover across the borders with Poland so that they could later seek refuge in Germany. So, this retaliation of Belarus has highlighted the refugee crisis that the European Union has been dealing with, and the EU has even labeled this as a hybrid attack because Belarus is using its borders with the EU, which is shared with Poland, and its immigration policies to enable a large crossover of illegal migrants into the EU. This question was taken up because the ongoing crisis at the Belarus Poland border has been reported in this article in the Hindu. Now let's look at the fourth question. If your fundamental rights have been violated, how can you seek remedy from the courts? By filing a public interest litigation or PIL at the nearest court, by filing a police complaint and then approaching the district court with a contempt petition, by filing a writ petition directly at the High Court or Supreme Court, by filing a curative petition at the Supreme Court. See, in the Indian Constitution, Article 32 and Article 226 provide for remedies and enforcement of fundamental rights. These articles provide for a series of writ petitions which can be directly filed at the Supreme Court or the High Court, respectively, in order to seek remedies for the violation of fundamental rights or to seek the enforcement of fundamental rights. These writ petitions include habeas corpus, mandamus, certiorari, prohibition, and quo warranto. Now, I want you to take this up as an exercise and read about these writ petitions and explain the purpose of these writ petitions in the comment section below. So, based on this explanation, we can clearly say that option C is the right answer. If your fundamental rights have been violated, you can directly seek remedy at the High Court or the Supreme Court by filing writ petitions as per the provisions of Article 32 or Article 226. This topic came up for discussion because we have an article in the Hindu where the Supreme Court has made a reference to Article 226 and Article 32. The Supreme Court was looking at a petition which questioned the rituals at the popular Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, but the Supreme Court has refused to intervene by stating that courts cannot interfere with the day-to-day functioning of religious places. The Supreme Court has said that such PILs cannot be entertained to inquire into religious practices and beliefs. According to the Supreme Court, through a PIL, writ jurisdiction cannot be invoked to check whether rituals and practices are being done in the right way, because such matters of faith are left to religious scholars, and it won't be appropriate for the courts to intervene directly in such matters. Now let's look at a question from the 2017 prelims paper. It is possible to produce algae-based biofuels, but what is or are the likely limitations of developing countries in promoting this industry? Production of algae-based biofuels is possible in seas only and not on continents. Setting up and engineering the algae-based biofuel production requires high level of expertise or technology until the construction is completed. Economically viable production necessitates the setting up of large-scale facilities which may raise ecological and social concerns. Select the correct answer by using the code given below. See, amongst the given statements, the first statement is incorrect. So option B is the right answer. Algae-based biofuels can be produced not only at sea but also on land. This is what makes the first statement incorrect. But the second and third statements are correct because setting up this technology can be very expensive and requires a high level of expertise, and thereby it is a likely limitation on developing nations from promoting this industry. Also, the production of this type of biofuel will require large scale facilities, which might raise environmental and social concerns. So, statements 2 and 3 are correct, and option B is the right answer. Now, coming to the fact of the day, let's look at this press release from the Ministry of Defense, which refers to the Indian Ocean Naval Symposium. According to the article, the 7th edition of the Indian Ocean Naval Symposium Conclave of Chiefs is being hosted by France to discuss the maritime security issues that are affecting the Indian Ocean region. See, the IONS is basically a voluntary initiative that brings together the like minded navies of the Indian Ocean region. This symposium was conceived by the Indian Navy in 2008 to create a platform where the navies of key littoral states of the Indian Ocean could come together to have an open discussion on various maritime issues related to the stability of the Indian Ocean region. The first edition of this symposium was hosted by the Indian Navy in 2008, and this event is usually a biennial event. The chairmanship and the location of this symposium rotates between the member countries, and it essentially provides an opportunity for these navies and its officers to hold a conference and discuss the key maritime issues of the Indian Ocean region. The symposium is mainly focused on promoting maritime security cooperation to enhance regional security, and it also focuses on promoting HADR cooperation or humanitarian assistance and disaster relief cooperation to help out the littoral states of Indian Ocean during times of natural disasters. More than 30 countries are involved in this symposium, and the littoral states have been geographically divided into sub-regions, representing the South Asian littorals, the West Asian littorals, East African littorals, and Southeast Asian and Australian littorals. Here you can see the members who take part in the Indian Ocean Naval Symposium, and it includes key countries like Australia, India, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the others. And it also includes France and the United Kingdom, as they have overseas territories in the Indian Ocean. Then around 8 countries have been recognized as observer states to the IONS, and major powers like China, Japan, Russia, and Germany also take part in the symposium as observer states. So this concludes our discussion for today. Thanks for watching.